Good evening, this is Maestro Cortello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Tonight, have I got a treat for you. We have none other as this Grey Knight Bro Captain, HolyHammer. The guy who, honestly, at some point was definitely the best, basically the best Dawn of War 2 Retribution player. Mainly as the war boss. We haven't seen as much of him lately. I don't think he's been playing as much. He kind of did not fully convert to the Elite mod. And I think the last we kind of saw of him before he kind of disappeared was him in the finals of a tournament, actually losing to Toila Lee in a best-of-5 set. And it was a close set, 3-2. At any rate, that's HolyHammer as the Grey Knight Bro Captain. I did indeed check his profile. This is the real HolyHammer. On the other side of things, we have as this slightly tanky Commissar Lord with a screwed-up face, bionic eye, nerdplaygames. He's a guy who's been pretty active in the Elite mod scene lately, turning out to be a pretty good player too. And he's also a guy who's been submitting some replays to me, and good ones at that, which is much appreciated. At any rate, this is a 1-versus-1, if you could not already tell, on Siwal Frontier. We got Grey Knights versus Imperial Guard. Certainly a matchup that I don't know a whole lot about. But, you know, I kind of think the Sentinel is going to be good in this matchup. I feel like the range DPS on those strike squads doesn't seem all that great. I mean, it seems alright. I believe it's worse than TAC DPS. I don't know if it's worse or better than Chaos Space Marine DPS. And right now, HolyHammer floating a bit of requisition. He spends that 500 requisition on a second strike squad. So going for a double strike squad build. Not actually a very common build for a while. In most of Grey Knight's relatively short metagame in Dawn of War 2, a double strike squad build has not been very common. It's usually been one strike squad into maybe usually purgations, maybe interceptors. But a player named Fortune recently has kind of been showing us how really good the double strike squad build could be by getting Justicars in tier 2 and then using their offensive ability on squishy units. One strike squad member actually goes down from a pistol shot from the Commissar Lord. Commissar Lord, by the way, already upgraded to the Power Sword, which I think is a fantastic weapon. Makes the Commissar Lord really good against pretty much any power armor unit in tier 1, and it certainly scales beyond tier 1. It also has a really good ability called Lead by Example, which is basically like Battle Cry on the Force Commander. Just makes him do special attacks with every strike, as well as giving him a +2 speed boost. Guardsman being chased down by this Bro Captain. Bro Captain doing range damage as well as hitting with his sword. His starting sword is not actually that powerful, I think. Considering the Nemesis Force Sword only does something like 30 DPS, I'm guessing his starting sword isn't all that powerful. In fact, right now the Commissar Lord is going to be doing a lot more damage than the Grey Knight Bro Captain. We got these double strike squads. Kind of blobs up. Sentinel does have the ground pound, so the Sentinel can disrupt the strike squad. And it can disrupt both of them if they decide to bunch up this much. Commissar Lord coming in for a flank, though. Going to be doing, I think, Lead by Example has been activated. He is doing special attacks, and the Sentinel is racing in there so it can get a stomp off. And now, one strike squad on the verge of losing a model does in fact lose a model from that Commissar Lord. I mean, one of the great things about this Power Sword is the Commissar Lord will actually get model kills on power armor units. And power armor units, especially in tier 1, do not want to lose models because it's such a huge economic loss, and it's something you can largely avoid by retreating at good times. So that basically often incurs some economic damage to power armor races. It also gets the Commissar Lord experience. And like I think by tier 2, the Commissar will be at level 2. And we do have some chatter between the players. HolyHammer saying something about how he needs the double strike squad to deal with the Sentinel. Not really sure why, actually. Anyway, Guardsman focusing down this Bro Captain, actually scaring him away from the capture. But now Bro Captain's kind of coming back in. Will tank a lot of that damage. Will make it in. Activates We Are the Hammer to increase his speed. Also gets these, has support from that strike squad as well. So with that, HolyHammer does force these guardsmen to retreat, and now he is getting the map control. He's getting this middle contested victory point. All of the victory points on this map are contested, actually. But we do have this middle victory point where probably most of the fighting takes place. And then the strike squad, one of them is getting this requisition point, and the other one is going for the victory point. Nerdplaygames actually kind of using his Commissar as a capping unit right now. Has less than half health, but has most of his energy. So the Commissar is, I think, is really interesting because of the fact that he's slightly tanky. He's not that tanky. Not as tanky as the Force Commander with an energy bubble. His energy shield is free, but it is also the worst energy shield in the game, with only a 2.5 energy to damage ratio compared to the 4 or 5 of most other energy shields. I'm often surprised, though, just by how much you can actually see Commissar players basically just running the Commissar around solo, especially in Tier 1 when he can't even really be supported with stubbornness. But basically just running around that Commissar around solo, and how he actually seems to pretty much win fights. Even though he doesn't have a whole lot of health, Commissar actually on really low health, only using his energy shield pretty much to tank damage. Really risky to keep him out on the field at this point, though, since retreating actually disactivates or deactivates your energy shield. And wow, that was actually a really close call for the Commissar Lord. Could have been a wipe Commissar, could have been 250 wreck to put him back on the field. Meanwhile, a strike squad member does go down. That is very expensive. I don't remember exactly how much strike squad members cost, but I know CSM models cost 66 requisition. Tax cost a bit more. I think we're going to check right now how much those strike squad models cost. So strike squad model cost 83 requisition just to reinforce 1. Nerdplaygames getting the map control back. Both players now in Tier 2. Interestingly, Nerdplaygames has quite a massive requisition float. Over 600 requisition. Both players going for their first Tier 2 purchases. HolyHammer with that Grey Knight Dreadnought, which is turning out to be a pretty good unit. Nerdplaygames, on the other hand, getting the Chimera. And the Chimera is especially going to work good right now. Work well. It's going to work very well, precisely because Nerdplaygames has so much requisition. At this point, he basically has infinite guardsmen, as well as... No, just infinite guardsmen. Just kidding. I was going to see what other infantry units he had, but that was it. This Grey Knight Dreadnought out right here, though, in some ways going to kind of beat the Chimera. I mean, it's a little too simplified to just say, oh, it beats the Chimera. But it will certainly threaten the Chimera, because both of these units are vehicles, but the Grey Knight Dreadnought with this multi-melta can actually do damage to the Chimera, while the Chimera cannot do damage to the Grey Knight Dreadnought. And this Chimera really needs to get out of there. It took one shot. Another one from the Grey Knight Dreadnought actually misses. Lucky to have one of those shots miss. Sentinel just doing damage to these stormtroopers. Upgraded to have a sergeant. Increases their damage, obviously, just because it's another model. But still not really a good fight just to stay in against this Sentinel, because it just means they're going to bleed models. That sergeant gives them detection, and the sergeant also actually has 250 health, while the regular stormtrooper models only have 100. And the Chimera also taking shots at the inquisitorial stormtroopers, forcing them off, retreating before he actually takes one more model loss in retreat. And this Grey Knight Dreadnought back right here, actually upgraded to the plasma cannon. Wow, big hit. I was about to say not as good against vehicles, but then we had one shot from that Grey Knight Dreadnought take away half of the Chimera's health, barely gets out of there with 21 health. And we actually have, this is something you actually do not see very often. We have double psi cannons. Oh, look at that plasma cannon shot. Double psi cannon, double strike squad psi cannons. You rarely see that. You mostly see purgation squad psi cannons. Now, so we kind of have mini purgation squads, and the plasma cannon actually destroyed that building. This building right here, just so you know, only has 150 health, so it's easily destroyed. Sentinel right here stomps the bro captain. Meanwhile, we got, I think, some lead by example. Yes, knocks down that Inquisitorial Stormtrooper squad. And killing a lot. I thought it was going to kill one more model, but it does not. Grey Knight Dreadnought right here. About to get in behind this Commissar Lord, which has been upgraded to... He got the Flak Jacket War Gear. Allows him to... In addition to executing his own units, he can execute enemy units. And that execute shot against enemy units does 300 piercing damage. So it will definitely instantly kill certainly any of these Stormtrooper models. Will not necessarily instant kill the Strike Squad models. And now we have another source of AV from nerdplaygames. He does have the Imperial Guard Las Cannon. Imperial Guard Las Cannon, the best Las Cannon because it has the highest rate of fire, giving it the highest DPS. It also has been upgraded to have a Sergeant, and that energy shield on the Las Cannon, as I recently found out, in addition to protecting, making the heavy weapon team immune to knockback, also makes them immune to suppression, which I did not know for a while. Anyway, Chimera right here. nerdplaygames choosing his battles wisely, keeping his Chimera away from the Grey Knight Dreadnought and using it around infantry that cannot really do any AV damage. We now have some Cloak Stormtroopers with Melt-A-Bombs, the anti-armor kit, as it's called. We actually have multiple sources of AV from nerdplaygames. Really wants to deal with this Grey Knight Dreadnought. Has Melt-A-Bomb Stormtroopers, a Las Cannon heavy weapon team in here, and he now has a missile launcher on his Sentinel. Meanwhile, this Chimera is taking some AV damage from the Strike Squad, but it's actually not being threatened all that much. You know, with only one Psy Cannon, those Psy Cannons are actually not very overpowered. Certainly, the triple Psy Cannons on the Purgation Squad, it's kind of been a bit of a debate among the Elite Mod community. Like, is this unit overpowered? Are Purgation Squads with Psy Cannons overpowered? I'm not really going to lay in too heavily on that. I'm not sure. I don't really play Grey Knights all that much. But certainly this single Psy Cannon is definitely not overpowered. And it functions actually as light AV, doing some light AV to that Chimera, definitely without being overpowered. I hear the Plasma Cannon on the Grey Knight Dreadnought charging up. We do have some infiltrated Stormtroopers, but I think they're kind of in a difficult position, surrounded by Strike Squads, trying to do some damage to that Grey Knight Dreadnought, but I think they're just in a bad position. We now have the missile launcher on the Sentinel, using crack missiles, does AV, so a third source of AV actually switches to frag missiles now. Will be good against all types of infantry, both heavy infantry and regular infantry. Very powerful. Chimera takes another plasma cannon shot, cannot afford to take too many shots, really. And these Strike Squads, to be honest, a little overextended, and 2 Strike Squad models get gived, actually, from those frag missile launchers. 1 Strike Squad actually down to 1 member. You do not want to lose a Strike Squad. They're such a tough squad, and I don't know if they're necessarily that good, but they're certainly a tough squad, so you should not really lose them that easily. Anyway, Grey Knight Bro Captain chasing down Guardsmen. Not really a good situation for him, to be honest. Has no upgrades. Activates We Are the Hammer, but as long as the Chimera is there, the Grey Knight Bro Captain, this is actually a losing fight for him. He's not going to do significant damage to that Chimera, and he's not going to cause significant economic losses to the Guardsmen either. Not with the Chimera there, he won't even force them off. So this Sentinel, when it has the crack missiles, the AV that it does is not that powerful, but it's just another source of AV in combination with the other 2 that nerdplaygames has. And it's also on a fast unit. Instead of being on a AV on a slow setup team that needs to set up and then can't move, we have this fast Sentinel, speed 8, can actually chase down fleeing vehicles and kill them. But you certainly need to be careful with your Sentinel, especially in Tier 2, when more powerful counters to the Sentinel come out. Speaking of which, Purgation Squad with Psy Cannons, very good Sentinel counter. However, HolyHammer does not have those. Interestingly, though, HolyHammer has the map control. Actually, map control at this point has gone back in favor of nerdplaygames. nerdplaygames getting his 7th unit now. He's getting a Kasrkin Squad, Elite Tier 3 infantry unit, unique to the Elite mod. Meanwhile, HolyHammer only has 4 squads, but he's in tier 3 with massive resource float. Might be going for a Land Raider Crusader, but I don't think he has the... Does he have the red for it? Maybe. Anyway, Grey Knight Bro Captain right here. Still no war gear. Just running this guy around vanilla. Is at level 2, though. And unfortunately, this Grey Knight Bro Captain definitely in against way too many guardsmen and actually gets shot to pieces, I think especially by these Castrican squads, which has been upgraded with weapon expertise. As you can see, it does all sorts of different things to the different weapons that Castricans can be upgraded to, but it kind of all just results in the same thing, which is an increase in DPS. The exception is the Melt-A-Gun change, which is movement speed to vehicle targets. Actually does a light snare. Oh, and this Grey Knight Dreadnought in a little bit of trouble, but here's that Land Raider Crusader. So we've got massive vehicles out for HolyHammer. Big Land Raider Crusader. I think Land Raider Crusader has been turning out to be the best Land Raider so far. It seems to actually be really powerful. Certainly not that great against vehicles, not powerful AV, but just so good against infantry. And it also suppresses as well. I think it's... I don't know exactly how the suppression works, but it does do some suppression. Strike Squad losing models, though. And although HolyHammer has certainly a good army dominance right now, it was winning on the victory points, he's having a little bit of trouble with resources after spending all that wreck to get that Land Raider Crusader. Land Raider Crusader doing a ton of damage. Uses the grenade launcher to just wipe that Stormtrooper squad. We can see all these Stormtrooper bodies on the ground with their Melt-A-Guns. That's certainly going to put a dent in nerdplaygames' ability to take out vehicles without having that Stormtrooper squad. HolyHammer, meanwhile, he actually gets a second Stormtrooper squad, and he might actually have that, I think, mainly as vehicle support. He has 2 vehicles, and especially with such vehicles that have large HP pools like Dreadnoughts and super units, it really helps to have 2 repair units on the field. Otherwise, what you get happening is you'll have 1 vehicle on the field, but then it needs repairs. And you can't really even keep both vehicles in play because one of them needs repairs, and then it takes a really long time to get those repairs. Commissar runs in, activates lead by example, but at the point where he really needs to retreat or he will get wiped, I think he will get out of there just fine. These Castricans, meanwhile, though, shredding Stormtroopers, will probably do very well against the Strike Squad, too. Yeah, these Castricans. People have been complaining a little bit about them, too. Their DPS is apparently very high. I don't know the numbers, but it seems very good. They are also... But I guess as far as the Castricans, they are at least fairly... they're certainly not very durable. More durable than the rest of the Imperial Guard units. But still not that durable overall. So, we have nerdplaygames trying to push in a bit, trying to deal damage to those vehicles. This Chimera needs to watch out, does not want to get shot by the Grey Knight Dreadnought. Grey Knight Dreadnought looks like it's just straight up charging in, and we have an execute on the las cannon to increase its damage. A ton of damage that Grey Knight Dreadnought is done. Actually a fantastic play by nerdplaygames. And he's actually now seriously threatening this Land Raider Crusader, which, to be honest, needs to get the hell out of there. The buff has worn off, but now this Land Raider Crusader has fairly low health. It's got something, 25% health. HolyHammer still not moving it out of there. And now he's seriously going to risk losing this Land Raider Crusader. I think this Land Raider Crusader might be done. Oh my god. Sentinel, if Sentinel chases it down, the Sentinel... Oh! Still just... Oh man. That las cannon. 2 vehicles go down from HolyHammer. Major victory by nerdplaygames. Very well played. Surprisingly poor play by HolyHammer, to be honest. I always hate when I feel like I'm criticizing players too much. Certainly one of HolyHammer's caliber, but right there, he really needed to move that Land Raider Crusader out of there. Just getting hit by that las cannon, which was executed and was doing bonus damage. And now This Lehman Russ right here. I recently found out that Lehman Russes are very good. Their damage has actually been improved because the cooldown on their cannon has been reduced, as well as the fact that they have a damage resistance that most other tanks do not. Basically making the Lehman Russ a tanky tank, and still not quite as much raw damage as the Predator from either race, especially not when they have a las cannon. However, its damage is better than it is in retail. Anyway, Commissar Lord in here, getting a lot of model kills. Oh my god, almost wipes that Inquisitorial Stormtrooper squad. Does wipe it, uses Execute, Inspire Terror, in fact, to wipe that Stormtrooper squad, kill that last model, and this is looking like a GG from HolyHammer. The Grey Knight Bro Captain literally walks through the husk of that Land Raider Crusader and just blows it apart just by walking through it. And this Grey Knight Bro Captain has no upgrades. And he's actually might actually lose to Commissar Lord. Commissar level 4 has level 5, in fact, has upgrades. And I mean, at this point, nerdplaygames, wiping generators allows him to get red, and he can actually soon. I was gonna say soon he could do a rocket run, but he actually decides to use mines right there. And HolyHammer apparently going for a Rhino. I'm guessing he wants to put a las cannon on that. But I mean, with how he lost the Land Raider Crusader and the Grey Knight Dreadnought to this las cannon, I think getting such a light vehicle at this point is going to be very risky. Triple cap now for nerdplaygames. And a sync kill by the Commissar Lord. Such a boss. Taking out a strike squad. A lot of dead strike squad models in this game. And now we actually have plasma guns on just about every guardsman infantry squad. But HolyHammer, he's not done yet. Does an orbital bombardment. Looks like it's gonna hit absolutely nothing. Only 2 bolts somehow. So I'd say that's just about a GG. HolyHammer capping right here. And he's not even retreating the Bro Captain. Alright, good game, guys. Hope you enjoyed the cast. I wonder how long this game is going to run. So obviously, this is what often happens. Whenever HolyHammer loses a game, it gets posted. Even though he's like the best, he was the best player for a while at least. Toy might be better now. Whenever a game of HolyHammer losing happens, it gets posted. And then you never see all the tons of games where HolyHammer actually wins, which is most of the time, to be honest. Anyway, victory counter going down. HolyHammer just kind of sticking it out. And there it is. Very well played by nerdplaygames. The execute on that las cannon was critical, although it's still a shame. Just that HolyHammer really could have stayed in the game if he had just backed up that Land Raider Crusader a little bit sooner. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.